Hello everybody, and today I'll be looking at the top 20 most used trainer cards in Gym Leader Challenge. So starting with number 20, we have Guzman Hala. So what this card does, it's a supporter that lets you search your deck for a stadium card and put it into your hand. But when you play it, you can also discard two other cards from your hand, and then if you do that, you also get to search your deck for a tool and a special energy. Now, one of the more prevalent combos that I see with this card is Artisan, Technical Machine Evolution, and Capture Energy. And what this does is it lets you immediately set up two Stage 1 Pokemon, turn 1 going second from just one card, which is a very, very powerful effect to have, especially with the decent amount of supporter search that the format has. And because it's a tag team card, you can use Tag Call, which is an item card that lets you search a deck for up to two tag team cards, reveal them and put them into your hand. You can use that to go get it, so you just have more outs to getting this turn 1 going second. And this isn't the only combo that this has access to. It's really just a great card if you have a good stadium, a good tool, or a good special energy, because there aren't a lot of cards that search out special energy and tool, or special energy and stadium cards. So having one that can search out all three of them to potentially combo something together is really, really strong. At number 19 is Cynthia. So Cynthia reads shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 6 cards. It's less destructive than something like Professor's Research, which forces you to discard your hand, but you draw 7 cards as opposed to 6. And it's more draw than something like Judge, which only gives you 4, but also forces your opponent down to a 4-card hand. So it's just really solid draw. It's not too destructive, and 6 cards is a very solid amount of cards to be put into. It's enough that you can play down the hand to draw more cards off of something like Octillery or Bibarel, which lets you draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, and it's enough that it gives you something to work with for the turn. Number 18 is Ball Guy, which is a very powerful supporter in Gym Leader Challenge, solely based on the fact that there are so many ball search cards. Now, ball search cards are Pokeballs that get you a Pokemon, basically. They can have various effects. Nest Ball gets you any basic Pokemon and puts it on your bench. Level Ball gets you any Pokemon with 90 HP or less and puts it into your hand. Hisuian Heavy Ball lets you look at your face down prizes. You can take a basic Pokemon you find there and switch it with Hisuian Heavy Ball. And then Ultra Ball lets you discard 2 cards from your hand to get any Pokemon and put it into your hand. Now, being able to get 3 of them off of one supporter in any combination is just super, super powerful. If you hit it turn 1 going second, you can get 3 ball search cards that should let you get basic Pokemon and use all those to fill up your bench. You can use it later in the game, like still for setup purposes. You can use it to get Ultra Ball, Level Ball, and Hisuian Heavy Ball. Hisuian Heavy Ball lets you easily check your prizes, and then Level Ball and Ultra Ball can get you your evolutions to start getting set up for later in the game. So it's just a really powerful card with so many ball search cards in the format. Number 17 is Teammates. Now, this card only works if one of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, and you just get to search your deck for 2 cards and put them into your hand. This is super strong because it's just any 2 cards. So this can get you a Pokemon that you need. It can get you energy. It can get you any 2 trainers that you need for either this turn or next turn. And you don't have to reveal them. So if you get something and you don't really need it, but it could be nice to have for next turn, your opponent could feel a need to disrupt your hand, and you get a fresh new hand if your hand's dead. The other supporters that activate upon knockout are Raihan and Hassel. Raihan lets you attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, and then if you do, you search your deck for a card and put it in your hand. Raihan does let you accelerate energy, but it only works if you have an energy in the discard pile. You can't just use it to go get any card. So if you don't have any energy in your discard pile, like they boss KO'd one of your support Pokemon that didn't have any energy attached, and you don't have a way to get energy in the discard pile, Raihan can kind of just be a dead card. And then Hassel isn't great. It lets you look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put 3 of them into your hand. It is one more card than Teammates, but you're not seeing your entire deck, so it's just objectively worse. Next up is Trainer's Mail. Now, Trainer's Mail lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You can reveal any trainer card you find there, except for Trainer's Mail, and put it into your hand. You shuffle the other cards back into your deck. This is very good at turboing through the deck, finding what you need for turn 1 plays, like finding Guzman Hala turn 1, finding just generally good supporters turn 1. You can put Trainer's Mail in your deck. You can put Pokegear 3.0 in your deck, which lets you look at the top 7, and you get a supporter. And then Acrobike lets you only look at the top 2. You keep one and discard the other card. But they're all just good cards that let you dig through your deck at an accelerated pace. And if you get set up in Gym Leader Challenge and you get to play the game, you're already winning. So in 15th, we have Professor's Letter. Professor's Letter just lets you search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand, and then you shuffle your deck afterwards. So this is really cool. So this is a good card because it just gets you 2 basic energies, and there's a whole bunch of things that can be used for, like Cherim and Baxcalibur with their Spring Bloom and Super Cold abilities, respectively. They accelerate infinite energy from your hand of a certain type. So Cherim accelerates grass and Baxcalibur accelerates water, and you want to have those energy in your hand so you can accelerate them. It also thins out your deck. The other card that is similar to this is Earthen Vessel, which to use you have to discard a card from your hand. So you can either lose one card when playing Earthen Vessel to go get 2 energy, so a net gain of 0. At number 15, we have Professor's Letter, which is a pretty solid card. Lets you search a deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. This is just a good effect. Lets you get energy into your hand, and obviously you want to be attaching an energy every turn. So this also works in conjunction with abilities like Spring Bloom on Cherim and Super Cold on Baxcalibur, which lets you accelerate infinite energy from your hand of a certain type. The card that's similar to this is Earthen Vessel, which you need to discard a card from your hand to use the effect of, and it's just a Professor's Letter with additional text that says you have to discard a card from your hand to use it. So Earthen Vessel is objectively just worse than Professor's Letter, except in decks that want to be discarding stuff. But most decks are going to be running Professor's Letter. At number 14 is the supporter card N. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck, and then each player draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. Iono has a similar effect where each player shuffles their hand and puts it on the bottom of their deck, and then still draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards, and then Judge, each player shuffles and draws 4. I think N sees more usage over Iono solely because Iono shuffles to the bottom, because that can be detrimental to yourself if you have good cards that you want to be able to see again, and you get Iono, or you force yourself into an Iono, then you could have to reshuffle the deck somehow to be able to see those cards again because they're on the bottom. And just shuffles it into the deck, which doesn't let you see fresh cards like Iono does, but it does ensure that none of the cards that you did have are guaranteed on the bottom. So next up at number 13 is Escape Rope. So Escape Rope just reads each player switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Your opponent switches first. So this is good at getting around abilities like Neutralizing Gas on Galarian Weezing, where the ability only works if it's in the active spot, and while it is, none of your opponent's Pokemon have any abilities. So if you're getting ability locked by a Galarian Weezing, you can just play an Escape Rope and break the lock as long as they have a bench Pokemon. And it's just a better switch most of the time, because Switch only switches your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and this can force your opponent into a situation that they maybe weren't expecting, and have to put up maybe one of their support Pokemon that could get stuck, or that you could just KO and set them back a little bit. At number 12, we have Marnie. So Marnie, each player shuffles their hand and puts it on the bottom of their deck. You get 5 cards and your opponent gets 4 cards. Now, this is hand disruption that doesn't scale with prize cards like N and Iono do. What it does do is put your opponent to 4 cards. Now, a lot of the draw power in Water and Colorless specifically rely on putting your hand up to 5 cards. So if you put your opponent to 4 cards, and then they draw for turn, they're already at 5 cards. So if their hand is bricky, they can't thin it down, they don't get to draw any more cards because they're already at 5 in hand. So this is solid. It also puts you to 5 cards, so you can play out of that. It typically won't be used as much later in the game compared to something like Iono, where it puts them down more, so they have to work harder to find the combos. and Marnie just gives them a fresh 4 cards at the end of the game. But in the beginning of the game, when they start with 6 or 7 cards and they've built up a little bit of a hand, and you know they're holding something, you can put it on the bottom and force them into 4 new cards. At number 11, we have Field Blower. Field Blower is a really powerful item card. You choose 2 in any combination of tool cards and stadium cards in play, yours or your opponent's, and discard them. This is good because it's both tool removal and stadium removal strapped onto 1 card. There's Tool Scrapper, which you discard up to 2 Pokemon tools in play, and then there's Lost Vacuum, which you can only use if you put another card from your hand into the Lost Zone, and then you choose a Pokemon tool attached to any Pokemon or any stadium and put it into the Lost Zone. So Lost Vacuum lets you get rid of something for good, but it's only one thing, and it's either a tool or a stadium. Tool Scrapper only discards tools, so having one item that discards both tools and stadiums is really, really solid. Next up, the highest placing tool on the list is Floatstone. So Floatstone just gives the Pokemon it's attached to no retreat cost. The other no retreat reducing tools that are widely played are U-Turn Board and Air Balloon. U-Turn Board reduces the retreat cost by only 1, but if it's discarded from play, it goes back to your hand. And then Air Balloon reduces the retreat cost by 2. So Floatstone is just strictly better than Air Balloon, because if your opponent plays something that increases your Pokemon's retreat cost, then the Air Balloon will only reduce it by 2. So if they increase it to 3, then your Pokemon will still have 1 retreat, whereas Floatstone will completely negate it and just give it free retreat. U-Turn Board does go back to your hand when it's, for example, Field Blowered away, but Floatstone is just generally better when you have higher retreat Pokemon. U-Turn Board is good with lower retreat Pokemon when you can use it as a pivot, but Floatstone is just generally better. The highest placing recovery card at number 9 is Rescue Stretcher. Rescue Stretcher says choose 1, put a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. So the other recovery cards are Ordinary Rod, which choose 1 or both, shuffle up to 2 Pokemon or 2 energy back into your 2 basic energy back into your deck. Super Rod is shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy back into your deck. And Night Stretcher is put a Pokemon or basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. So Rescue Stretcher is the most played, I think, just because it's got diversity. It doesn't get energy back, which is a slight issue, but either getting 1 Pokemon back to the hand, which can help you recur a basic attacker, or 3 Pokemon back into the deck, which can get you back a whole evolution line, or a stage 1 line and another basic to go with it. It's just a really powerful recovery card. Next up is at number 8, Hisuian Heavy Ball. Now, this is a game changer for Gym Leader Challenge. Because it's a singleton format, if you prize one of your basic Pokemon, you'd be locked out of that evolution line for the entire game until you pull it off the prizes. Using Hisuian Heavy Ball, you can bypass that by looking at your prize cards, which also gives you information on what your prize cards are, so you don't have to prize check, and choose a basic Pokemon you find there and put it into your hand, or reveal it, and then switch it with the Hisuian Heavy Ball. So that's great, because if you prize one of your basic Pokemon that you need, for example, it's one of your support Pokemon, and you have the Stage 1 in deck, but you prize the basic, you can Hisuian Heavy Ball, get the basic, bench it, and then you have it ready to evolve next turn. Hisuian Heavy Ball can be gotten off Ball Guy, which just improves Ball Guy's usability. And then Town Map is another prize manipulation card, which just turns all your prize cards face up. So if you use Town Map, you can't use Hisuian Heavy Ball, because Hisuian Heavy Ball says your prize cards have to be face down. But Town Map does let you pick any prizes. It just doesn't get you a basic that you need immediately. So it's good if you prize your stage 1s, but if you prize a basic, you want to be sure to use Hisuian Heavy Ball before Town Map. At number 7 is Quick Ball. Now we're starting to get into just general ball search cards, which are always going to be good. As long as you can get Pokemon into play, you have a shot to win the game. So Quick Ball, you discard a card from your hand to search any basic Pokemon, put it into your hand. There are multiple basic Pokemon that have on-bench abilities. Not all of them do, and typically most evolving basics don't. So it doesn't really matter about getting it to hand. It's just, can I get my basics onto my bench turn 1 or turn 2 to be able to play the game? Ball Guy can be gotten off Ball Guy, increases its usability. And then Octillery is just an example with the Abyssal Hand. Once during your turn, you can draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. So you can use Quick Ball to discard a card from your hand, and then don't grab anything off Quick Ball or grab something and bench it. And then if you were at 5 cards, now you're down to 3 cards because you just discarded one when you played the Quick Ball. Next up at number 6 is Ultra Ball, another ball search card, probably one of the best. You discard 2 other cards from your hand to search your deck for any Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. This gets you basics, this gets you evolutions, doesn't rely on any HP values. You do have to discard 2 cards from your hand, which could be like devastating or unfortunate. But if you're playing Octillery or Bibarel that lets you draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, you're pretty fine. Just discard 2 cards that you can't play, and then Ultra Ball for something or nothing, play it, and then draw more cards with Octillery. At number 5 is Evolution Incense. This is Ultra Ball, but you can only grab an Evolution Pokemon, and in exchange, you don't have to discard any cards from your hand. So this is like a lot more. At number 5 is Evolution Incense. This just lets you get any Evolution Pokemon from your deck, reveal it, and put it into your hand. You don't have to discard the 2 cards like you do for Ultra Ball, but it can't get you basic Pokemon. So that won't typically be a problem, because if you dedicate your Ultra Ball to getting a basic Pokemon, you can use your Evolution Incense to just get a free Evolution Pokemon. And if you're playing something that draws you cards like Octillery, you can go Evolution Incense for Octillery and immediately draw you cards. It won't be as many cards as if you discarded off Ultra Ball, but it can be less destructive. So if you have cards that you want to keep, you can just play Evolution Incense. And then the other card I wanted to compare this to is Evo Soda, which lets you search your deck for any Pokemon that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play and just put it on top of it. So this is a good consistency card. It lets you get more evolutions in play, which is just what you want to be doing. As long as you get set up, you have a shot to win. But Evo Soda does not activate on evolution abilities. So if you want to be like Shady Dealings off of Drizzile and Inteleon, they only work when you evolve that Pokemon from your hand. So if you use Evo Soda, they just won't use their abilities and they just won't work. Evo Soda is also worse because it cannot get you a stage 2 if you only have the basic in play. Whereas Evolution Incense can grab you the stage 2 and then you can use Rare Candy to immediately evolve into it. So Evolution Incense is just typically better than Evo Soda, but Evo Soda is a good consistency card as well. At number 4 is Level Ball. Super good, just really, really solid. You don't have to discard any cards from your hand. It just lets you get any Pokemon with 90 HP or less and put it into your hand. Now, again, you can get it off Ball Guy. And then a lot of good, like Stage 1 in that area, support Pokemon have 90 HP or less. And being able to just have a card that lets you get that Pokemon is really solid. Kirlia has 80 HP with the Refinement, discard a card, draw 2. Cherim has the Spring Bloom, infinitely attach grass energy from your hand with 80 HP, and then Drizzile with the Shady Dealings has 90 HP, and it just gets you any trainer card. So this turns your Level Ball into a discard draw 2, or accelerate as many grass energy from your hand as you like, or get a Pokemon that lets you get any trainer card. So it turns your Level Ball into get any trainer card. So it's just a really solid combo piece, and it can grab basic Pokemon. So if you grab this off Ball Guy early, you can get a basic Pokemon onto your bench to make sure that you're set up for later. At number 3, we have Guzma. Guzma switches one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active, and then you switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Now, this is just a boss's orders and a switch stapled together. You can only use the switch if they have a benched Pokemon. So if they don't, the card doesn't do anything. But if they do have a bench Pokemon, you can both bring something up and switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So if they try to trap something up, you can Guzma one of their support Pokemon and put your attacker back in the active. You can try to stick something and put a free retreater up. And a lot of decks are playing ways to have free retreat. So you can just Guzma into your free retreater, and it was basically just a boss's orders with an extra more text stapled on it that just reads switch. So it's pretty solid, and it's more played than Boss's Orders because it has that switching effect, and it can get you out of a lot of sticky situations. So at number 2, we have Nest Ball, which searches your deck for a basic Pokemon and puts it on your bench, and then you shuffle your deck. Can be gotten off Ball Guy, and then it's kind of a better Quick Ball depending on the deck. So Quick Ball, you do have to discard a card from your hand, so Nest Ball is already less destructive. But if you're playing a draw engine that fills your hand up to a given number, then Quick Ball could be better. But like I said earlier, most basic Pokemon that evolve don't have any abilities that activate when you bench them. So Nest Ball is just freely get any basic Pokemon, and it can be gotten off Ball Guys. So your turn one going second Ball Guy can be Nest Ball, Quick Ball, and Level Ball to go get 3 basic Pokemon to make sure you're set up for next turn. Now, the most played card in all of GLC is Versus Seeker. You put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. It's just like a really, really busted card. So there's a whole lot of discards that I talked about during this video. Guzmahala, Ultra Ball, Quick Ball. All those cards force you to discard something from your hand. Now, typically, you'd have to be careful with what you discard if it's a supporter. But you can just, for example, discard your N, and then later in the game, you can Versus Seeker for your N to play it immediately. And if you get Ionoed or just hand disrupted generally into a hand that only has a Versus Seeker, depending on what supporters you played earlier in the game, you have access to all of those with one item card. So I think that this is just a super, super busted card, and I can clearly see why it's the most played. Alright, links in the description, the official Gym Leader Challenge website, which is a great place to go to look, see beginner lists and just learn more general knowledge about the format, and then the Cardboard Warriors website. I used the analytics section of the website for this video, so I think it's a great place. There's a whole bunch of data on there, and there's a whole bunch of deck lists made by the community if you want to go check that out. Thanks, have a good night.